My beloved brothers and sisters, today I want to share with you a truth that is often forgotten in the noise of this busy world. Your greatest battles are not fought with your hands, they are fought with your heart. And the strength of your heart lies in how often it bows before its Creator. Let us begin by asking ourselves a simple question. What is it that keeps a person going when everything around them seems to be falling apart? Is it wealth, number? Is it physical strength? Not at all. Is it the support of people? Sometimes even those you trust the most walk away. What keeps a person firm, focused, and strong is the strength they draw from their connection with Allah through prayer. In a world that constantly demands from us our time, our energy, our emotions, and sometimes even our sanity, it is easy to forget where true strength comes from. We look around and see people breaking under the weight of responsibilities, crumbling under pressure, falling apart silently while pretending everything is fine. Many of us carry unseen burdens, grief, stress, anxiety, confusion, and spiritual emptiness, yet we continue to chase solutions that only touch the surface. The body is treated, but the soul remains unattended. And when the soul is neglected, even the strongest body will fall. Let me share with you a secret that the righteous of the past knew well. The true strength of a person does not begin in the gym, nor in the office, nor even in the mirror. The true strength of a person begins on the prayer mat. When your forehead is pressed to the ground in sujood, when your heart is humbled before its maker, when your eyes well up in quiet devotion, when your body stills and your soul speaks, that is where real strength is born. That is where the strongest version of yourself is shaped. Not in the applause of people, not in the validation of society, but in that silent moment between you and the one who made you. You see, we were not created just to walk through this world chasing comfort. We were created to be tested, to grow, to worship, to transform. But transformation does not come by mere intention. It comes by action. And one of the greatest actions that brings about internal transformation is the Salah. The 5 daily prayers are not only a religious obligation, they are a divine prescription for the health of your soul. Without it, the heart becomes dry, the mind becomes confused, the emotions become unstable. But with prayer, the soul is watered, the mind is illuminated, and the heart regains its balance. It's easy to say we trust Allah, but real trust shows in prayer. It's easy to say we love Allah, but real love is proven through consistent worship. When a person is faced with difficulty and they rise to pray instead of complain, that is strength. When a person feels the weight of their sins but still makes wudu and bows before their Lord, that is strength. When the world is noisy but you choose to listen to the Quran, when the schedule is tight but you make time for Salah, when the heart is heavy but you still say Allahu Akbar and stand in humility, this is strength. Because this world is filled with battles. Some are external, like financial struggles or social challenges, but the most difficult battles are internal. And those are only won by turning back to Allah again and again in prayer. Many people wait until their life falls apart to return to prayer. But those who understand the reality of this life use prayer as a shield, not a spare tire. They pray not only when they're broken, but also when they're blessed. Because they know that blessings can be a test just as much as hardships. And they know that staying close to Allah in times of ease is the best preparation for the storms that may come. That is why the strongest souls are the ones who are consistent in their prayer, not the ones who pray occasionally, but those who hold on to it as if their life depends on it, because it does. When you place your head on the ground in sujood, you are doing more than worship. You are surrendering your pride, your plans, your pain, and your praise all to the one who knows you better than you know yourself. In that moment, you are the closest you can ever be to your Lord. And in that moment, something changes inside you. The world may not notice, but your soul does. You may not see it, but the angels write it. That one sujood could be the reason your heart finds peace after years of unrest. That one sujood could be the moment your dua is accepted. That one sujood could be the turning point between darkness and light. Don't underestimate the power of sujood. It may look like a simple action, but in it is the secret to serenity. In it is the cure for anxiety. In it is the treatment for arrogance. In it is the reminder that you are not in control and yet you are protected by the one who is. Every sujood is a silent victory over the distractions of this world. When others run to escape their problems through distractions, the believer runs to the prayer mat. And there, in the stillness of that sacred moment, strength is rebuilt, clarity returns, hope rises. Why? Because the soul has connected to its origin. And once that connection is restored, everything else falls into place. Think of how much effort we put into strengthening our bodies. We exercise, we diet, we buy supplements, we watch our steps, we count our calories. Yet how many of us give even half that attention to the health of our soul? The soul also has needs. And one of its greatest needs is sujood. Just as the body craves water and food, the soul craves prayer. Ignore it and you will feel restless, empty and unstable no matter how successful you appear. But nourish it through prayer and you will feel calm, focused and content even in the middle of chaos. Sometimes people say, I don't feel anything in prayer. But prayer is not just about feelings. Prayer is about faith. Feelings come and go, but the act of obedience remains. The sujood you make on the days you don't feel like it may be more beloved to Allah than the ones you make with full emotion. Why? Because it proves your sincerity. It proves your devotion is not based on mood, but on submission, and through this consistency, the heart is transformed. The shaitan wants you to see prayer as a burden. He wants you to think that it's repetitive, difficult or unnecessary. But remember, the shaitan was thrown out of paradise because he refused to bow down. When you bow down in sujood, you are doing the very thing he refused to do. That is why he hates your prayer. That is why he whispers doubts. That is why he tries to distract you. Because he knows that every sujood weakens his influence over you, and every sujood strengthens your closeness to your Lord. If only we could see the light that comes from the faces of those who pray with sincerity. If only we could see how the angels surround the person who remembers Allah in their sujood. If only we could hear how the heavens respond to one sincere tear shed in prayer. We would never delay a single salah. We would never rush through it. We would never trade it for the world. There are people who live in palaces yet feel empty. There are people who have nothing but a prayer mat and feel rich. It's not about what you own. It's about what owns your heart. And if your heart is owned by the love of Allah, then you are the richest person alive. Salah is what keeps that love alive. Salah is what keeps the heart beating in rhythm with divine remembrance. And let us not forget the power of the night prayer. That time when the world sleeps and your eyes open, not for dunya but for your Lord. Those are the moments when angels witness your sincerity. That is when your soul is wrapped in light. That is when your du'as pierce through the heavens. Don't let the night pass without at least a few minutes of connection with the one who never sleeps. You may think your problems are too big, but your sujood is bigger. You may think you are too far gone, but one sincere prayer can change your entire future. Even the companions of the Prophet, peace be upon him, were strengthened by their prayer in battles, before decisions, during grief, in times of prosperity. They turned to Salah, not as a last resort, but as their first step. We must revive that mentality. Make prayer your first solution, not your last option. When you receive good news, pray. When you receive bad news, pray. When you are unsure, pray. When you are blessed, pray. When you are tested, pray. And even when you feel nothing at all, still pray. Because every sujood is a seed planted. You may not see the fruits immediately, but one day the tree of your patience and obedience will blossom. Don't compare your prayer to others. This is a personal journey. Some pray quickly, others pray slowly. Some cry in every sujood, others struggle to feel emotion. But as long as your heart is present and your effort is sincere, your prayer is accepted. And with each prayer you are getting stronger. Not just spiritually, but mentally, emotionally and psychologically. The peace you feel after prayer is not just coincidence, it is the mercy of Allah embracing you from within. In the course of life, we are constantly tested, sometimes with things we expected and often with things that catch us by surprise. There are moments when everything seems to be going smoothly and suddenly the ground beneath us shakes. We face financial worries, family disputes, health issues, loneliness, stress, betrayal, failure, and sadness. Everyone without exception will taste these hardships at some point. But the difference between those who crumble under the pressure and those who rise through it is what they do when they are struck by difficulty. Some people panic, others complain. Some search for solutions in all the wrong places. But those who know the value of prayer, they turn to the one who controls every situation, every soul, every destiny. The ones who stand in prayer, especially when it's hard, don't fall before problems because they have already bowed before the Almighty. There is something incredible about the one who stands before their Lord in the darkness of night, or in the silence of the early morning, or in the busy hours of the day, putting everything aside to fulfill the command of prayer. These are not just rituals, these are not just movements or words. They are moments of divine connection, moments when your heart is recharged, your soul is strengthened, your mind is cleared, and your burdens are lifted. You may not even realize it at the time, but every sincere salah is depositing something into your inner strength account. So when a test comes, you respond with patience, not panic. When a door closes, you respond with dua, not despair. And when the world turns its back on you, you know that Allah is still with you. The reality is, a person who is consistent in their prayer becomes consistent in their peace. Even if everything around them is in chaos, they have something stable within them. That stability comes from the constant connection with the most stable. You see, prayer is not just for the moments you feel spiritual. It's not just for the times you're in the masjid or on a prayer rug. It is a lifeline. It is the difference between a heart that wavers with every wave and a heart that stands firm like a mountain. When you commit to your prayer, Allah commits to strengthening you. And when you are strengthened internally, no external challenge can break you. Many times we look for strength in people, in books, in motivational talks, in strategies. While these things may help temporarily, the deepest strength can only come from the one who created strength. And that strength is offered to you 5 times a day, every single day, through salah. How beautiful is that? That you don't need to go on a long journey to find peace. It's right there in the corner of your room, waiting for you. That prayer mat becomes your place of peace, your battlefield of victory, your classroom of learning, and your station of healing. And if you make it your habit to visit that place consistently, you'll walk out into the world with a strength people can't understand. The world teaches us that success is found in speed, appearance, achievement, and control. But prayer teaches us that success is in surrender. The more you surrender to your Lord in prayer, the more strength you gain to stand tall when life tries to push you down. People often say, I don't have time to pray, or I'm too tired to pray. But the truth is, we are too weak not to pray. Prayer is not something extra, it's essential. Just like you wouldn't go a day without food or water, don't go a day without prayer. Because while food feeds the body, prayer feeds the soul. And if the soul is starving, you'll feel it in your emotions, your decisions, your relationships, and your ability to cope with stress. Sometimes we see people who are smiling, who look like they have it all together, but inside they are breaking. And sometimes we see people who are going through so much, yet they carry themselves with calmness and clarity. What is the difference? The second person has learned to stand for prayer. They've learned that prayer is the place where pain melts into patience. That in sujood, the weight of grief is handed over to the one who never grows tired. That in ruku, the pride is broken so that healing can begin. That in the calm recitation of the Quran, the soul finds what it was searching for all along. This is the power of prayer. It transforms the inner world. And once the inner world is strong, the outer world becomes easier to manage. Allah never promised a life without hardship. But He promised that through prayer you will find help. He said, seek help through patience and prayer. And He never said that success lies in how quickly your problem is solved. Rather, He teaches that success lies in how connected you remain to Him during the problem. Prayer is that connection. When you pray consistently, your heart becomes less dependent on people and more reliant on Allah. You stop chasing solutions in the wrong places and start realizing that the best solution is to turn to the source of all solutions. Let's reflect on those who came before us. The prophets, peace be upon them, were the most beloved to Allah, yet they faced the hardest trials. And what did they do when they were in pain? They prayed. When Prophet Ayub was struck with illness and loss, he turned to Allah. When Prophet Yunus was in the belly of the whale, he turned to Allah. When Prophet Musa was cornered at the sea, he called upon Allah. When our beloved Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, lost his uncle, his wife, and faced rejection after rejection, he would lengthen his prayers. He would stand at night in conversation with his Lord, finding strength that no army could provide. This is the legacy of prayer. It's not about escaping problems, it's about facing them with divine support. You may be dealing with things that nobody knows about. You may cry at night and smile during the day. You may be trying to hold everything together while feeling like you're falling apart inside. Don't underestimate the strength that is born from a sincere salah. Even if you don't have the words, even if all you do is cry in sujood, that moment is more valuable than 1,000 empty words. Allah knows what is in your heart before you speak. He knows the weight you carry, even if no one else does. And in every prayer you are telling Him, Ya Allah, I'm not strong enough on my own. Strengthen me. And He will. Inner peace is not the absence of storms. It's the calmness within the storm. And that calmness comes from prayer. The one who prays regularly starts to see things differently. They don't overreact to every situation. They don't crumble with every comment or criticism. They don't feel lost when plans fall apart. Why? Because they have trained their heart to trust the one who never fails. They have made it a habit to recharge their soul before facing the world. So even if the world becomes dark, they carry their own light within them. Sometimes people say, I pray, but my problems are still there. But prayer is not always about changing your situation. It's about changing you. It's about building resilience. It's about keeping your morals strong in a world that constantly tests them. It's about saying, I may be struggling, but I will not stop turning to my Lord. That persistence builds a strength that no money can buy. It builds a heart that doesn't collapse under pressure. It builds a character that remains patient when tested, thankful when blessed, and hopeful at all times. Don't let anyone or anything make you feel like prayer is a burden. It is your lifeline. It is your private moment with the King of Kings. No appointment needed, no formal request, no waiting list. Just you and Him. Every day, 5 times a day, you are invited to peace, to power, to clarity. And the more you accept that invitation, the more you will feel your life aligning in beautiful ways. The worries don't vanish overnight, but your strength to carry them multiplies. The fears don't always go away, but your courage grows. The confusion may linger, but your heart becomes content even when it doesn't have all the answers. This is the strength that comes from prayer, not the loud strength of the world, but the quiet strength of the soul, the kind of strength that allows you to forgive even when you've been wronged, to remain honest even when dishonesty is easier, to stay calm when provoked, to speak truth when it's uncomfortable, to stay upright when everyone else is bending. That strength doesn't come from books or lectures. It comes from bowing your head before your Creator. It comes from consistently choosing obedience over convenience. And when you choose Allah over everything else, He helps you through everything else. There will be days when you feel lazy, days when you don't feel spiritual, days when you feel distant, but never let go of your prayer. Even if it's a struggle, even if it's rushed, even if it feels dry, hold on to it like a lifeboat in the middle of the storm. Because the moment you let go of prayer, the storm takes over. But as long as you're still praying, you are still anchored. And every prayer, no matter how imperfect, is a rope connecting you to the most perfect. There is wisdom in why prayer is spread throughout the day, because life's tests are also spread throughout the day. Each salah is a checkpoint, a moment to pause, to realign, to reflect, to repent, to renew. We wake up with Fajr, seeking light before the day begins. We pause our busy day with Dhuhr, remembering that no task is more important than connecting with our Lord. We continue with ASR, pushing through the afternoon with patience. We settle into the evening with Maghrib, reflecting on the blessings and tests of the day. And we close our night with Isha, resting our soul in the hands of the one who never sleeps. It's a complete system of inner development gifted to us by the one who knows our needs better than we do. Never think that your prayer is going unnoticed. Every sajdah is recorded, every whisper is heard, every tear is counted. Every hardship you endure while staying consistent in prayer is a witness for you on the day of judgment, and every salah you pray is pushing you closer to the strength, clarity and peace you seek. So don't abandon it, don't delay it, don't take it lightly, because the one who stands for prayer does not fall before problems. And the one who understands the power of prayer carries an unshakable calmness in a shaking world. One of the greatest tragedies in our time is that many people have reduced prayer to a robotic routine. It has become a tick on a checklist, a series of movements performed quickly, sometimes without thought or feeling. For some, it's only for Fridays or only when they need something from Allah. But in truth, prayer is far more than a rituality, is a lifeline, a rescue, a direct call to the divine. It is the point at which the heart finds refuge, the soul finds rest, and the body bows not in defeat but in strength. If only we could understand what prayer truly is, we would never rush through it again. We would never delay it. We would run to it like a drowning man runs to the shore, like a lost child runs to their mother's arms. There are moments in life when you feel overwhelmed, when your mind is noisy, your heart is heavy, and nothing seems to be working. You may try to speak to people, and they might not understand. You might look for comfort and not find it. You might even pretend everything is okay while you're breaking inside. But the one who understands the true nature of prayer doesn't wait for the storm to pass before turning to Allah. They pray in the middle of it. They pray with their tears. They pray through their silence. Because they know that prayer isn't just something you do, something that rescues you from what you're going through. Every time you say Allahu Akbar, you are declaring that your problem is not greater than your Lord. Every time you bow, you are surrendering your burdens to the one who can carry them. Every time you enter sujood, you are whispering your pain to the only one who can truly heal it. This isn't just a practice, this is a rescue mission from the heavens to your heart. When the world gets too heavy, prayer is your escape. When your sins pile up, prayer is your cleanse. When confusion clouds your vision, prayer is your clarity. And when everything falls apart, prayer is the reminder that Allah never does. The beauty of prayer is not just in the words you recite, but in the transformation that takes place within you as you pray. When you face the Qibla, you are not just turning your body, you are turning your heart. You are turning away from distraction, away from dunya, away from people, and toward the one who knows you better than you know yourself. That turn alone begins your healing. And when you place your forehead on the ground, you are putting the most honored part of your body on the lowest point in front of the Most High. What does that teach you? It teaches you humility. It teaches you submission. It teaches you that greatness lies in lowering yourself before your Creator, not in chasing applause from creation. People spend so much of their lives chasing validation. We want to be seen, heard, appreciated. But when you enter prayer with sincerity, you are seen by the one who never overlooks. You are heard by the one who always listens. You are loved by the one whose love is never dependent on your perfection. Even if your past is full of mistakes, even if your heart feels distant, the moment you begin your prayer, you are engaging with the most forgiving, the most loving, the most merciful. Isn't that a rescue in itself? Sometimes we ask ourselves why our hearts feel empty. We try to fill them with people, with entertainment, with distractions, but they never stay full. That's because the heart wasn't designed to be filled with the temporary. It was created to connect with the eternal. And nothing connects you with the eternal like prayer does. The very act of prayer recalibrates your soul. It reminds you of your purpose. It pulls you back from the brink. And the more you pray, the more your heart softens. The more you pray, the more your character improves. The more you pray, the more Allah opens doors you didn't even know existed. Prayer is not about getting what you want, it's about becoming who Allah wants you to be. And in becoming that person, you realize that many of the things you once chased were never good for you anyway. That some of the closed doors were actually divine protection, that some delays were divine training, that the heartbreaks you went through were steps on the path to healing. Prayer helps you see the wisdom in pain, the blessing in loss, and the mercy in trials. Because when you're connected to Allah, your vision is no longer limited to this world. You begin to see with the light of faith. And perhaps the most powerful moment in prayer is sujood. That moment when the world disappears and it's just you and your Lord. There is no place more honorable for a human being than with their face on the ground in submission to their Creator. Sujood is where your ego is crushed and your soul is elevated. Sujood is where your tears are not judged. Sujood is where the strongest warriors weep. Sujood is where the most broken hearts are mended. Sujood is where sins are washed away without a word. And in sujood, though we are in the lowest position physically, spiritually we are in the highest position a servant can be. This is the beauty of it. When you lower your head in sujood, you are actually rising in the sight of Allah. So many people carry burdens that weigh them down day after day. But the one who truly understands sujood doesn't carry those burdens alone. They transfer them in prostration. They speak to the one who already knows. They cry to the one who understands. They ask from the one who gives. And when they rise from sujood, they rise lighter, stronger, more content. Their problem may still be there, but their heart has changed. And a changed heart sees things differently. You see, sujood is not just a position, it's a state of the heart. It teaches us that the way to rise in life is not by stepping on others, not by boasting, not by chasing fame or status. The way to rise is by lowering yourself in front of the Almighty. When you realize how small you are in comparison to His greatness, you begin to see the world for what it truly is, a temporary stop, not a final destination. And that perspective alone saves you from so many regrets, from so many traps, from so many heartbreaks. Because once you anchor your heart in sujood, the waves of life can shake you, but they cannot sink you. Some people may wonder, why should I keep praying if I don't feel anything? But the answer is simple. You keep praying because Allah deserves your worship whether you feel it or not. And you keep praying because consistency builds connection. Just like water takes time to soften rock, prayer takes time to soften the heart. And sometimes that one prayer you nearly skipped becomes the very one that brings you peace. That one sajdah you almost rushed through becomes the sajdah that changes your life. Never underestimate the power of a sincere sujood, even if you feel unworthy. Because Allah is not looking for perfection. He's looking for hearts that keep returning even if they stumble. There will be days when you feel spiritually strong and days when you feel distant. There will be days when you pray with focus and days when your mind wanders. But never let that stop you. The doors of Allah's mercy are always open. Every time you return in prayer, you are rebuilding your connection. And every time you place your head on the ground in sujood, you are testifying with your body that there is no one more deserving of your surrender than the one who created you. That action alone, repeated over time, transforms you from the inside out. You may not see the results of prayer immediately. You may still face tests. But you will notice that you handle them differently. Your panic turns to patience. Your anger turns to calm. Your confusion turns to clarity. This is the rescue that prayer offers, not always the change of situation, but the change of you. And once you change internally, the external world becomes easier to navigate. Your reactions improve, your relationships improve, your decisions improve, because prayer brings light and that light shines into every area of your life. We live in a world that constantly tries to distract us. Notifications, entertainment, comparison, it all tries to pull our focus away from what really matters. But prayer brings us back. It recenters us. It reminds us that no matter how fast the world moves, the soul needs stillness. The soul needs sujood. The soul needs that divine conversation where you speak and your Creator listens. And even more beautifully, when you're silent and don't know what to say, He still understands. There is nothing more empowering than knowing that no matter how far you fall, sujood is always there. That even if people shut you out, Allah never does. That even if the world misunderstands you, your Lord knows exactly what you mean. That even when you feel unworthy, your prayer is still welcome. And that even if you can't change your situation, prayer gives you the strength to endure it with dignity. When you rise from sujood, you are not the same person who went down. You are purified, even if just a little. You are lighter, even if just a bit. And over time, every sajdah leaves a mark not just on your forehead, but on your soul. It becomes a source of identity, a source of pride, a source of peace. The most beautiful people are not always the ones with wealth or fame. They are the ones whose hearts are softened by sujood, whose eyes shed tears out of love, not just pain, whose feet walk to prayer even when it's difficult. These are the ones who are truly rescued in this life and the next. Prayer is not a duty to be fulfilled, it is a gift to be cherished. It is not a task, it is a treasure. And when you truly internalize that, your whole life begins to revolve around your prayer, not the other way around. You plan your day around your salah because you realize that your success comes not from rushing through life,